do this. Awesome. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Campfire Queer Storytime at the Vortex. We're so excited that you decided to join us. And if you want to rewatch this at a later time, the link is going to be archived forever. So feel free to revisit this. I'm world famous Bob, and I'm the host of Campfire Queer Storytime here in Austin. And I've got Josh, my tech gay. Josh, can
Hello.
you say hello?
Hi.
There he is. Hi, Josh.
Hello. How are you all? I'm so glad you guys could join us again. It's been so much fun. I'm super excited.
I'm super excited. Everyone needs a tech gay and one that cute. So Josh, thank you so much. Josh, this would not be happening online if Josh didn't come to me and say that if I needed any assistance to bring this community gathering online, that he'd be happy to help. So a round of applause for Josh. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm just here to plug in wires. Bob makes the magic happen, guys.
So this is a monthly gathering that happens in, hi, Demetrius, how are you? Distracting me, damn. Distracting me with those muscles. So this is a monthly community event that happens in person at Dixon Place in New York City, as well as the Vortex in Austin, Texas. And we're looking to start more campfires soon across the country and hopefully the globe. It is a way for people to come and gather in the strength of our community's resources, really, which is us. We are each other's resources, and our stories are what connect us. Unlike some other storytelling events, this is a story time, and people can use any medium they want to tell their story. They can dance, they can sing a song, they can lead a ritual, they can read writing from another person that they love, they can tell a story. It's really up to them. Each of our featured speakers has roughly 10 minutes. And if you're interested in speaking at Campfire, please feel free to email me, or you can email the Vortex, but you can email me at worldfamouscoaching@gmail.com. I would love, love, love to open this up to people beyond the circles that I know. And we would love to welcome you to the Campfire. So I want to thank our fireside seat holders. They're here creating a atmosphere of community in the Zoom call while everybody else is on YouTube. I want to thank Glenna and Kitty and Masha and my official gay husband, Richard, and Fred and Ruby Lamb and Charles Curry. So thank you so much for being here.
So many wonderful guests. Yes.
So many wonderful.
Excited.
I know, it's way better. Last month it was just a screen and my stuffed animals, and I was really having to work through it. And if you come to the live one in the middle of the summer because the pandemic's over, please, goddess, please don't expect to see me in a wig. This is a luxury. So our next one, I just want to say at the top of the event that our next campfire is Sunday, August 23rd, same time, 7 to 8 p.m. Central. So if you'd like to be in that, please email me. And I'd like to thank Melissa at the Vortex so much for giving this event a home. The Vortex is a great venue here in Austin, and they have a lot of online programming that you can watch from anywhere in the world right now. And I would also like to thank Dusty Shoulders, who is my campfire creator, co-creator. It's the spark that made the flame go. So without further ado, I'm really, really, really honored to have all four of our guests here at the campfire. And I was especially honored when I reached out to this person because this person is also a fairly new mother. And I can't imagine having a second to spare in this situation that we're all in and having a beautiful child to care for. So I'm forever grateful for this. And I just want to briefly let people know there is a pageant called Miss Exotic World that takes place at the Burlesque Hall of Fame Weekender in Las Vegas, Nevada every year, beginning of June at the Orleans showroom. It's about a 600-seat theater, and I was there the night. It's like Miss America for striptease. So it's the best pageant ever, and all gender expressions are included. So it's literally the best pageant ever. And I was there in the second or first row when this person graced the stage and proceeded to let us all have it, basically. In 2016, this person was crowned the Queen of Burlesque, Miss Exotic World, and there was never a doubt in my mind by the end of her number that that wasn't going to happen. She is a ray of light, she is a ray of strength, and she is gorgeous. Please welcome to the Campfire, Miss Poison Ivory.
Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? Wonderful, because I have my AC on, and if not, I wouldn't make it. Okay, so this is my first time here at the Campfire. I'm super honored to be here. And so for today, I wanted to tell a story about the time I met Ellen DeGeneres. Now, despite how you feel about Ellen, it's not really about her. It's truly a story in how I learned to embrace the power of manifestation and learning that there is no timeline when it comes to manifesting things. Like if the universe is on your side, it will happen instantly. And I'm going to tell you the story about how I learned that. So I'm going to take you guys back to 2009. I was living in Los Angeles with my partner at the time. It was about a month away from my 26th birthday. And 26 is not like a birthday that you usually do any big parties. So I had been wrestling, trying to figure out something to do, something low key, but something to make the day special. At the time, the Ellen DeGeneres show was playing in the background, and she was giving out like Nintendo Wii games to everybody in the audience. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh no, she gave out like some dance game. And I'm thinking, okay, not everybody in the audience has a Wii. That's a really nice gift, but not everyone's even going to be able to use it. And right after I said that, she was like, no, I realize not everybody in the audience has a Wii. So I'm also giving out free game systems for everybody in the audience. And I was like, that's amazing. So I was like, oh, wouldn't it be so great if I got some tickets so me and my friends can all go to the Ellen DeGeneres show for my birthday? So I go online and I'm scrolling and it's like sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out. We get to the week of my birthday and it just says standby tickets. So I was like, fine, I'll get 4 standby tickets because I hear that even if you don't get into the studio audience, you'll get into the riffraff room, and any prizes that she gives the audience, you also get it when you're in the riffraff room. Plus, you get tickets to come for guaranteed seating in another show. So I was like, whatever, I'll get them for backup. May 13 came along. That was my birthday, and I'm driving along in Los Angeles. I'm about to meet my friends over at Cantor's Diner. I get myself some matzo ball soup. We're about to have ourselves a wonderful Los Angeles stay. I asked my friends what they have planned for me, and they all give me nice big blank stares. So I was like, okay, great. Well, it's a good thing I had these standby tickets. So what do you guys feel about trying to go see the Ellen DeGeneres show? Everybody was down, so we got into the car and we got to the Burbank where the studio is. We arrive and we are met by a security guy who tells us that seating has already happened and there's no way that we're going to get into the studio audience. However, it being a Thursday, they filmed 2 shows that day. So he told us to go ahead and come back around 2 p.m. and maybe we can get into the second show. We thought about it and we all decided that we're going to go back a little bit early. So we came at noon just in case so we could be front in line. Good thing we did that because we did wind up making it into the big holding corral where they keep everyone, but there was absolutely no way that we were going to make it into the studio audience because we were numbers like 340 something outside of the 500 we're guaranteed to get in. So like 300 and something people had to not show up for us to be able to get into the studio audience. So we were like, whatever. And so my friends were like, my best friend Karina specifically, she was like, well, let's try it. Like, let's just see what happens. Everyone just put your energy on Andrea. That's my legal name, just so you guys know. Everyone put your energy on her and let's see what happens. So they give us these little pamphlets that we need to fill out, like, why are you here? You know, what do you do? Da, da, da. And so all of my friends were like, we're here for Andrea's birthday. Yeah. Just like putting that energy out. And the night before we left, my partner was like, you know what, you should wear that yellow shirt. It just makes you stand out. You should just wear that shirt. It's your birthday. And so I had my yellow shirt on. I decided after we filled out our paperwork that we were going that I needed some snacks because I always need snacks. So I went over to the snack truck and this woman comes out and she's like, hey, we're looking for a couple of people. We want to update our website and we just want to ask them a couple of questions. And she went and picked out like 40 to 50 people out of this bullpen that I was in. And they're all walking away and I'm coming back with my handful of snacks, carrying it back to my friends. And then she's like, oh, and you over there in the yellow shirt, you come with us too. And I'm like, okay. And my friends are like, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? So we get into, like, they take the 40 of us and they put us in a line and there's producers at the end of the line and we have to, like, each one at a time introduce ourselves to them. And I could see that people were like walking up to the producers. Half of them were going back to the bullpen where everyone was sitting. Well, most of the people were. And then maybe like 10% of the people were going the other way. And I was like, I want to go where they're going. Like, I don't know what's up, but I definitely want to go where they're going. So I'm thinking, I'm like, well, it's my birthday. I'm pumped. I could just be happy and hyper and hopefully that will work. So I got up to the front of the line and they're like, hi, what's your name? And I'm like, hi, my name is Andrea Ivory and it's my birthday. And I literally start screaming up and down, like in this line. And they're like, awesome, amazing, go this way. And I was like, great. But I tricked my friends. So I'm pretending like I'm walking back towards them. And like last minute, I like zoom to the left and they're like, screaming. Because our whole goal was just to try to get into the studio audience. So I felt like I was one step closer. I get into this room. There's like 6 of us in this room. I'm trying to talk fast because this is like a 30-minute story. I get into this room and it's freezing cold in here. And the producers come in and they were like, hi, have any of you guys ever heard of Ellen's Game Week? And we're like, yes, why? Yes, we have heard of Ellen's Game Week. And she was like, okay, well, I just want you to pretend like you won this pin. What would happen if I said, congratulations, you just won this pin? And I'm like, I love pins. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for the pins. Thank you for the pins. And then she was like, okay, thank you so much. And she leaves. And mind you, there's like 6 to 8 of us in this room acting crazy and doing this. And then the woman comes back like 5 minutes later. And she was like, now the next person who comes into this room, pretend like they're Ellen DeGeneres. Like, how would you behave when they walked in? And this producer comes in and everybody's like, oh my God, Ellen, and like falling over them. And I'm like, Ellen probably wouldn't like that. So I'm just like standing in the back like, oh my God, Ellen, oh my God, I can't believe that I got the opportunity to meet you. And I'm like, you know, bringing the theatrics out. And mind you, this room was freezing cold. And there was one of those obvious like glass mirrors there, 2-way mirrors. So you know people were watching us. And I'm thinking if I pass out in here, because every single time I jumped up, I got lightheaded. So I kept grabbing onto this poor girl's arm so I didn't fall. So I was like, if I pass out, they're not going to pick me, like definitely guaranteed. So they ask us a bunch of questions and then they leave out of the room. And then we start walking and I look over at the bullpen and it's completely empty. So I'm like, okay, where are my friends? We walk into this, like down this long hallway and the door opens to the studio audience and it's completely empty in there except for like a couple of pockets of people, one of them which is my group of friends. And they see me and they're like, oh my God, there's a camera right here in front of your seat. I mean, there's a microphone in front of your seat. There's a microphone in front of your seat. So I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. We get into the studio audience, they let the rest of the people in. So my friends who were sitting there 300 and something number away from getting in are now in the studio audience because somehow I impressed somebody. So we're in there. And you know, on Ellen's show, everybody's dancing throughout the, you know, commercial breaks. I'm dancing because I'm trying to get a t-shirt. I see one of their little like agents, I don't know what you call the people walking, who are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna give her a shirt. And then this guy's walking and then he stops and he talks into his microphone for a second. And then he just does a beeline in the other direction. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like literally sweating trying to win this damn t-shirt. And jokingly to my friends, I was like, well, you know, I'm going to be on the show. So if they gave me a t-shirt too, everyone would know that it was fixed or it's weird. And I'm just joking around. The next segment comes in, and by this time I had completely forgotten about Ellen's game week because they brought a girl who was in there and who was in the room with me, and Ellen gave her a scholarship to Johns Hopkins University. So I was like, oh, we were just decoys. So this girl didn't know that she was going to win this, or that Ellen was going to give her this thing. So we're dancing, commercial breaks, Kelly Clarkson sings, Anderson Cooper's on there. It was a great show. And then all of a sudden, these producers are pushing out this little, like, basically a wardrobe cart with little pineapple rings hanging from it. And my friend just looks at me and she goes, oh my God, I think you're gonna win a trip. Like, just like that. And I'm like, okay. And then as soon as she said that, Ellen comes out and she's like, hey, it's Ellen Game Week. Let's get our studio audience guest. Can we get down? Andrea Ivory and whatever that other girl's name was. The girl whose arm I kept grabbing on to keep from passing out, they pulled her on stage with me. And they put us in these sumo suits. I got to meet Ellen. She like adjusted my sumo boobs for me. It was really nice. I was telling her that I was like a theater teacher and stuff, and she was making jokes about why I was projecting so much. But I was just nervous. It really felt like being called onto the Super Bowl to play. During halftime, they were just like, hey, you, Bob, you're on. Pads, helmet, here you go. You're starting second half. And the cameras just like come around in my face. I couldn't even see the studio audience. There were so many cameras. So we have to play this dumb game, and I completely lose because I'm in like a pencil skirt, my cute yellow top, heels. I'm competing against a new mom at the time, and she had on jeans and tennis shoes because she was like a mom and ready for the show. And the rule is if you win the game, you get to choose the prize behind the curtain or to try to come back for the new car. Well, obviously the girl wanted to try to come back from the new car because she completely murdered me. Like, I almost embarrassed myself on the TV. And so when Ellen asked her, like, would you like to come back for the new car or have the prize behind the curtain? She was like, duh, the car. And she was like, great. And she turns to me and she was like, hey, do you have a passport? And I was like, no. And she was like, well, you should get one. And the curtain opens up, and I won a $25,000 trip to Tahiti. It was the most amazing 2 weeks of my life. Everything first class. I went scuba diving. I swam with stingrays. I stayed on 4 different islands. I took like planes all over the place. We had like the most amazing meal plan. And all of that was simply because my friends just decided that we were going to try to make my birthday special that day and see what happens if we try to get into the studio audience. So yeah, that's basically my story. I'm trying to cut it down because I want to get within that time frame. But yeah, that's it. That's how I met Ellen. She was great, and she gave me $25,000, and I didn't have to pay taxes on that trip either. The show paid for the taxes, so win, 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 win. And that's it.
Very nice, Ivory. Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much.
Where's that t-shirt?
I know. Where's my t-shirt?
Then you go on to win the Queen of Burlesque. This exotic world, girl. I'll have a crown instead. It's cool. I love that story so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming to Campfire. And Josh, I'm going to have you unmute next, our next guest. I'm very, very excited. I was doing the math, and it's over 23 years. No, it's going to be 23 years in a few months that I've known you. So that's really, really crazy. Started stripping when I was 7. So you know how that goes. Childhood stars. And I have just had you by my side. Oh, I'll look at the camera because I'm just looking at my Brady Bunch screen. I've had you by my side for over 22 years. And every time you're by my side, I know everything's going to go great. Not just well, but great. You're an incredible person. You have a heart of gold. And you're the best stage manager in the universe. Please welcome to the Campfire, the Bishop.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can, yes.
Excellent. All right. So thank you so much, Bob, and thanks for having me. I'm super excited. I am gonna actually read an excerpt from my fiance's book, about the Roaring Twenties. And but first, I'm going to hit share screen, and I'm going to see if I can figure this out. That's not what I want. Let's see. Can I do this? No. Hold on one second.
Should be the green arrow at the bottom.
Yeah, I got help.
Okay.
That's what I have to pick. Share. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, good grief. Okay. Is it gonna work? Okay, it's not gonna work. Forget it. Doesn't matter. Okay. There we go. All right. Oh, wrong button. Sorry.
Usually it's just a fire and some marshmallows, so and bug spray, but we're doing the best we can.
This is Mae West's book. She wrote 3 plays, and they were produced in 1926. It's 3 plays by Mae West. They're called Sex, the Drag, and the Pleasure Man. And I highly recommend this. All of the speech that we think of as queer speech or gay speech is basically in this book from 1926. Highly recommend. This is an informal history of the 20s. It's called Only Yesterday. And it's got a lot of gay history. A lot of people think that gay history started in 1969 with Stonewall, and that's completely untrue. There was a really huge gay scene in the 20s. This is another book. There's tons and tons and tons of books. That's the bottom of the book. There we go. So, see that? There's tons and tons of history about gay life and queer life from the 20s all the way up through to now. And I highly recommend doing some research if you were like, what? There were no gay people until Stonewall. There really were. So I am going to, oh, it went away. Oh, there it is. Okay, can you still see me? Okay, hopefully you can. All right, so this book is called The Double Vice, and this is chapter 1. Here we go. He is not one of us. Dash Parker tried to shut out all the noise around him and pinpoint exactly what it was the man had said which caused his hurried thought. Not an easy feat, given both the house band and the tiny dance floor were hitting on all 6s. Still, facing the dancing men, he tilted his head towards the outsider. I'm sorry? The outsider stood just at the edge of his periphery, a darkened shoulder, a faintly outlined jaw, and of course the voice. A pansy is here, and you will take me to him. So pansy in 1920 speak was queen. So a drag queen. It was the him, you will take me to him. Every pansy Dash knew referred to themselves and others as she and her, and required everyone else to do likewise. They were Duchess, Doll, and Flossie, not James, Robert, or Alan. Then there was the belligerent tone, the brusque manner, the clipped accent, the demands, especially the demands. Wanting Dash to take him to see a pansy, then bristling when Dash replied he was in the wrong place and ought to try Mother Child's near 59th Street, where they showed off their latest drag. And now the him, drenched in contempt. This was a man who disapproved of the recent changes in the world. Dash pitied those who couldn't keep up, though he had to admit they were flying through this decade, just as fast as the drummer's sticks across his snare and the dancer's feet across the floor. Why, here it was, the middle of August, 1926, and already so much was different. Women were voting, telephones were ringing, radio waves and automobiles crisscrossed the country. The farms shrank, the cities grew, blacks played music to white audiences, and clubs were built to celebrate the nature of Dash and many others. Yet so much had not changed. Hate for one, fear for another. This outsider represented both. Unnerved, Dash turned to face the man. My good sir, you are free to walk around to see if she is here. Many fine gentlemen such as yourself do the same when they come to a club. A scowl ripped across the outsider's face as he straightened the lapels of his blue-gray suit. He did not want to venture any further into this narrow, darkened room. He is not one of us. Dash brushed his misbehaving brown hair behind his ears while his hazel eyes measured this potential threat. They mirrored each other in some ways, the outsider and him, Their slim figures totaled up to the same height, roughly 6 foot, and they were about the same age, 26 on Dash's part, and the other just past there. But whereas Dash's features were warm and inviting, this outsider was all hard angles and warning signs, clenched jaw and razor blade cheekbones, blazing blue eyes unwavering in their stare, blonde brow creased in anger. Such incongruity, what with the joyous dancing on one side of them and the lively bar on the other. Very well, Dash said to the lack of response, speaking in what his younger sister used to call his father voice, which was amusing, at least to her, formal and old-fashioned. It often came out when a situation was going wrong or about to. Why are you asking me and not any of these other men? You don't look like them. You don't belong here. Dash gestured to his black tuxedo and white silk shirt. Because of this? Yes, you have money. A curt raise of his chin. These men do not. The outsider was not wrong, about the other men at least. Most of the patrons in this Greenwich Village club couldn't afford the finery Dash wore. Instead, they gathered what mismatched glad rags they could find for a night in the town. In the case of the bell-bottom standing next to him, he wore his navy whites. I assure you, Dash replied, I belong here. Because you are one of them? He is not one of us. Dash cleared his throat. More than that, I'm afraid, I own this club. Such an odd thing to hear himself say, though Dash supposed he'd get used to it. After all, he put everything he had into this strange and wonderful venture he called Pinstripes. Money, time, even labor. If only his family could see his hands, calloused and worn like the riffraff. If only they could see him working on his feet, among the village bohemians, no less. Oh, the scandal. Not that they'd ever come down here, not after what was said and heard. This outsider reminded Dash of them. He forced a smile. Let's try again. I feel we can solve this problem in a more expedient fashion. This pansy, does she have a name? The outsider shook his head. I do not know it. I see. And what does she look like? Tall, with dark hair. Dash waited for more, and when the man didn't continue, he said, I'm afraid to say a lot of pansies fit that description. What more do you need? Surely a thing like that would stand out in a place like this. The clipped accent became clearer and harsher, the consonants beginning to land like bombs. German. Dash glanced around his club. All the way to his right was the band, a trio of drums, bass, and cornet backed by 2 black men and 1 white. In the center was the dance floor. Those men that weren't dancing leaned against the surrounding blue-painted walls or sat at wobbly wooden tables, smoking, drinking, laughing. All the way to his left was the bar, jammed so full he couldn't even see the bartender. His eyes took in the hunched shoulders, bent heads, and shirt backs with damp circles just above the trousers. No matter where Dash looked, it was a sea of suit jackets, waistcoats, and suspenders. Not a dress in sight. Dash turned his gaze to the outsider. I don't see her. And thank God for that. The bell-bottom standing next to them put his arm around a young man on a bar stool dressed in a sharp green suit. Loudly bragged sexual conquests followed. His dimpled cheeks spread into a grin as his young quarry looked up at him with lips parted in breathless anticipation. The outsider flashed them a look of disgust, then said, He is here. Why are you so certain? I followed a companion of his. Ooh, such intrigue. May I ask what your business is with her? None of your concern. Listen, my good man, if you come in here demanding me to show you to a patron of mine who you say is here, then you must tell me what it is you want with her. My loyalty is to my patrons. Such a thing, I think a gentleman like yourself would appreciate. The man was set back on his heels for a moment. I'm trying to be, discreet. Dash's lips curved into a wavy grin. I sincerely doubt we can get any more discreet than this place. No truer words were spoken. They were standing in a room hidden behind a men's tailor shop called Hartford & Sons. A secret knock was needed to enter the shop itself. Then once inside, one had to find the secret door in the back wall. Pinstripes, like many clubs of its kind, was designed to be the very height of discretion. It had to be to avoid the raids. The outsider, frustrated, said, "You are being difficult." And it goes on and on. Did you wave, Bob?
I was just getting ready to. We are so psychically connected. It's insane.
That's not the end of the first chapter, but
You could feel me reaching for my rainbow fan.
it goes
Feel
on.
it.
There are, I don't know if any of you have heard of Gladys Bentley or Lucille Bogan, who were superstars back in the 20s. Gladys used to dress in a men's tuxedo. There's a character based on her, and the group travels up to Harlem and through the village and to 59th Street, where they had a lot of drag shows. And so it's a great novel, Hidden Vices. You can follow the Chris Holcomb on Instagram if you want to learn more. And if you want to learn more about me, you can follow The Bishop Presents on YouTube.
Can you type that into the chat?
Yeah.
Do you mind?
I don't know.
Thank you so much, and give Chris my love.
I will. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
being
much.
there.
That was awesome.
All right, campfires. Let me just, all right, we're good. So how you doing, Josh?
Oh, fantastic. I'm super
Nice to
excited.
meet
We're
you.
almost at halftime, so
Yeah, we're almost
that's
at
my
halftime.
only sports reference I'll make, by the way.
7th inning stretch. That's a wig routine, right?
That's as far as I know.
Also known as go get the ice cream in the little baseball hat cup they serve. That's
Don't
all.
tell people my secrets.
All right. I am just beyond. I'm beyond that this next person is here at Campfire, and also that I get to share time and space on this planet with you. I met them at the Cock in New York City, the original Cock, so the OC, yeah, I guess we'd call it, on Avenue A and 12th Street. And I believe that is where we first met. And there was an evening called Foxy, and it was on Saturday nights, and it's legendary Scott Ewalt and DJ Adam and Mario all put together this incredible adventure. And I eventually started co-hosting it, and my job was to go out into the crowd with a stack of drink tickets and find someone drunk enough or get someone drunk enough to enter the What Would You Do for $100 contest. And it was not hard to get people.
I would not imagine so.
And this next person, I've also had the honor of touring with on the Sex Workers Art Show tour. And that was, I mean, that's worthy of a TV series in itself. We drove across the country in a van with a baby pool, about 30 pounds of glitter, a stripper pole, and a gaggle of gays and other assorted mixtures. Whitman's sampler, if you will, of freaked
Only
out.
30 pounds? Is that enough?
It was incredible. So I'm really, really, really honored to have them here tonight. Visionary performance artist and creator of magic with hair. Please welcome to the Campfire, Krylon Superstar.
Hello. Yes, I am so excited to do this. So Bob asked me if I wanted to, if I would do something. And I thought, well, what would I do? And one of the things that first came to me was I'm also in a band called Double Duchess, and we're at the moment not touring or making music, but I still write and I still sing. So I decided to sing something that I wrote that is devoted to, it's like a dedication to a friend, a mutual friend me and Bob had, by the name of Nisham, i.e. Mona Foote. Mona passed from COVID. And when Mona was this beautiful, African-American drag queen that really, really helped open up a door to drag for me, especially as like a dark person of color who is in a predominantly, at the time in New York City, most of the drag was that on the East Village level anyway, was mostly white people. And so it was really cool to be able to have that camaraderie with with Mona and still be rock and roll and still be like, hey, you know, this is me and I'm punk about it and what you got to say about that, you know? And so I wrote this. And then I have a couple of poems that I wrote that I wanted to talk about. There might be a little something going on in the background, and that's because there's some electricians doing something, but I'm just going to do what I can do with what I have. Okay, this is called Sweetheart. Sweet, sweetheart, lucky, no need to die, no need to fly. Sweetheart, the sun burns. It burns your wings as you fall. The hour speaks to me. It said your time has come, but you braved it beautifully. Now your soul is setting with the sun. Sweetheart, lucky. No need to cry, no need to fly. Sweetheart, move on. It's a memory left out in the cold. Ooh, we laughed as we grew old. You and you sing angelically, sweetheart, lucky. No need to die, no need to fly, sweetheart. The sun burns, so it burns your wings as you fall. The hour speaks to me, said your time has come. You braved it beautifully. Now your soul setting with the sun. So that was to Mona. And the next thing I'm going to read is out of my upcoming book. I'm joking. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but I'm putting it, I'm trying to put it together. I'm trying to manifest that. So this one is called Swing Me. Okay. Swing me, rock me, boat in the harbor, full moon threatening to luft your sails. I'm but a hobo in the need of a barber, coaxed to this water to tell my tales. Swing me, rock me, let me dance. Pretty, wake, hit the bow, like a symphony. My world has many downs. Close to the ocean here, dirty I lay, by the clean blue sea, forever. That was about a hobo. And then the next one I wanted to read, I bookmarked some things. This one is called What I Believe. What I believe is what I see. Stoplight flash in front of me. Where are emotions when falling from grace? The silence hits me in the face. Every touch is like a scream. An anxious dreamer in an anxious dream. What I believe is what I see. I'll let no one take that away from me. And if goodbye tries to escape your lips, I'll silence it with my fingertips. That one was about my partner. We had a moment back in the, about 4 months ago, and now we're back and everything's good, but I wanted to write a little something about that. And the next one I have Let's see. This is called Shadows. Okay. When that the parade of shadows pass over the browning winter grass, and from out somewhere the cackling sound of laughter echoes all around, I'll sit and stare out into the air, out everywhere, and imagine you. When years fade against my skin and what once was hip come around again, and tricky Mother Nature sees me grasp for breath as soon as it leaves me, I'll sit and stare out into air, out everywhere, and imagine you. When I lay futile in bed, yesteryears spirited my head, and the harmonious rise of the sun and moon falls flat and out of time, I'll sit and stare out into the air, out everywhere, and imagine you. Thank you. That one is about growing old and trying to stay fabulous. The next one I have, this one is more of a, it's just about being on Earth. Cool Earth shell holds me like a rare accident when lights break. I'm found by sordid hands grasping my nakedness, my bare anatomy, you wandering gypsy warrior laying out your heart at my feet. I've but to trip up two for nothing and squash you. That one was a little bit of a take on Dorothy Parker. I absolutely love Dorothy Parker. And I know that I only have 10 minutes, so I'm trying to get through all of them. By the way, I never read my poetry. So this is something that is brand new for me. I've never been to open mics to read poetry or anything like that. That's the first time I'm reading my poetry. So this is a little bit of an exposing myself to you guys. So here we go. This is called Light Bright. Lightning bright fire dancer, rip a new one across the sky. My face hurts from laughing at your anger. Better to apologize, but why? Weather beater on all fours, howling, nothing seen in the dead of night. My bow burns with heavy chuckles. Better not to kiss your lips, but I might. That one is about being a goth in New Orleans and back in 1992. And I have another one. And this is called And Just Like That. Just like you, the day bright, giving the body electric release, timeless folds of laughable anguish belongs to the angel, not to the beast. Just like you, the day clear, never the mind as to the heart. And when I return to you someday, dear, I'll take whatever darkness you tear apart. So that is just tearing darkness apart from myself and bringing it into the light. How am I doing on time?
You just finished on 10 minutes.
Yes!
Queen.
Awesome.
Krylon, I love your writing so much. Do you mind typing into the chat a way that people can follow your art?
Absolutely,
100%. For our fireside seat holders. And if you're watching this at home or anywhere else on the YouTube link through the Vortex, and you would like to be on the Zoom fireside group, it's just a little intimate few seats that we go ahead and give to people. Please feel free to email me, worldfamouscoaching@gmail.com. And if you would like to read your poetry, sing your song, tell your story, lead us through a ritual, please email me. This is your space, and it's a pleasure to create it. Krylon, girl, I almost lost my lash. The song for Nisham is so beautiful, and it's so I'm so grateful that I can hold his memory alive with you. I'm so grateful that we both have that to share, and I will be reaching out to hold that memory alive with you. I love you so much.
Love you too, Mama.
And I love your writing. You have to publish. You have to publish. That's
You have
it.
to publish, and you need to read poetry more in public. It was great.
Yes. So Campfire, you know, you might be at home thinking, I could never do this. I could never do this. I think you could. You know, I think you could. And it's not for performers. Some people who share at Campfire happen to be performers, but it's also a safer space to take risks. If talking about how you came out is something you would love to share with the world in a way, just know that every time you share a personal piece of yourself, it's like throwing a beautiful diamond into a pond. Those ripples reach out and they touch people you'll probably never ever meet. So I think you could. So please email me. All right, we're gonna go to our final Campfire share. Chastity. Sorry, Josh, I had to do a share joke.
I mean,
I'm gonna
I
start
love Cher, so I appreciate it.
I love share too, but I'm an MC and I've been in quarantine recovery from surgery for 5 months. And I'm literally like introing the food as I put it in the fridge after it's been wiped down with bleach. I'm on next up, we've got the organic celery. It's bad. It's bad. So I definitely, girl, I need
We
something.
can get you your own show. I think this would be a great YouTube mini series. I'm just saying.
I need a boob tube series.
Cooking with world famous Bob, I would 100% watch.
Oh, actually, Jackie B, my drag mother on Sundays does Quarantine Cafe on her Instagram.
I also watch
So definitely watch my mama cook. Speaking of drag family, I am the mother of the House of Famous, and our hashtag and our slogan and our motto is nice is the new fierce. So hashtag nice is the new fierce. And I think Krylon can back me up here that wasn't always a trend in the nightclub scene and the drag scene. And there's a lot of hurt people that have to hold up badges of bitterness. And I would like to invite those people to lay them down and to join us in joy, right? And I'm so excited to have one of my drag daughters. Well, I actually have in the fireside seats, I have Bobby Barnaby, my drag child, and I have Kitty Von Quim, my drag daughter, who live here in Austin. And I'm so excited to have joining us my drag daughter from New Orleans, who is the type of person that really truly leads by example. And I'm so excited to have her here this evening. Please welcome from New Orleans, Precious Ephemera.
Hello.
Yay.
Is that a go? Can everybody hear me? Okay, I see thumbs. That's good. Yeah, my name is Precious Ephemera, but that wasn't always the case. And I'm going to take us back to 2010, a luxurious time. And at that time, I did a lot of work around questioning my gender identity, and I started performing as a gender ambivalent robot known as the Trandroid. And so Trandroid had interchangeable hardware. We could have any kind of gender representation we wanted, but through the process of artificial intelligence, the human interactions would teach Trandroid what they wanted to be when they grew into a person. Trandroid was loosely based on Pris Stratton from Blade Runner, mixed with Data from The Next Generation, if you're into it. And I loved Trandroid. I loved that time in my life. I created a cabaret called Shits and Giggles in Chicago, followed by another event called Nuts and Bolts, which was like a dance party where everybody had to go to this craft table and create their outfit before they could get into the dance floor. And then at midnight, we would have this runway and everybody would show what they created. And it was brilliant. It was really community driven. And in 2012, Time Out Chicago named me the king and queen of queer nightlife, which was maybe the only award I've ever won. But the shadow side of that was that I was a horrible drunk. I had gone through a terrible breakup. I was called out by a lot of people and dragged online. I was accused of sort of misrepresenting the trans community by creating this robot character. A lot of different things were coming to a head, right? And then with a couple of my collaborators, I ran into some pretty serious creative differences. And at that point, everything fueled by alcoholism, I was pretty broken. And the last straw was that my roommate, who I had lived with for the previous 10 years, asked me to move out. And so I didn't know what I was going to do with myself, with my life, where I was moving, what was going on. And I, caught wind of a great idea to move to the fabulous city of New Orleans, Louisiana. And I always say, if you are looking for rock bottom, that New Orleans is happy to provide an escort. So that's just a simple truth of our city there. And so I needed to rouse up some funds to figure out how I was going to get down to the Big Easy. And so I created this kind of story that I told people about why I needed to couch surf with them. I told them that I was writing a children's story about a lucky little girl named Pearl who was just fresh out of ideas. And so she was heading south, right? And so she was traveling across this land. And I told everyone that I was staying with that I would write them into my story and that I would document their house as like this land that Pearl travels through. And one of my dear friends, Nicole Garneau, had said, "Oh my God, you're moving to New Orleans. You have to meet this person who refers to themselves as the Emperor." And I was like, all right, cool, done. And so for 12 months, 1 week at a time, I couch surfed and at a different person's house, and with the idea that this story would have 12 chapters, culminating in Pearl arriving at this city that I later would name New Oracles to meet the Emperor, right? Because she's just a lucky little girl who's fresh out of ideas. And that was true for me. And then I moved to New Orleans early in 2014. I actually moved a few weeks before Mardi Gras, which I wouldn't recommend to anybody, but I'm very grateful for that time in my life. And right after Mardi Gras weekend, there's a special event called Super Sunday. And that's where the Mardi Gras Indians come out and they do these really elaborate, beautiful sort of battle dances with each other. If you're familiar with Super Sunday, it's really an amazing event. And just through the product of circumstance, I met my friend Evan, who had just moved to New Orleans around the same time and under similar circumstances, just in that we were sort of at the end of our rope in our previous place and kind of looking for a sense of identity and who we were. And so at that time, I started just introducing myself as Pearl, and a lot of people came to know me that way. So a lot of people who met me in my first 2 years in New Orleans, sometimes they still call me Pearl, and I'll kind of know that it was from that time. So Evan had joined a group of a marching band group that did a lot of the local parades here called Paradise Tumblers. And that Easter had invited me to meet him out before the parade at a place called the Fairy Playhouse. And I was like, okay, I'm in. I will definitely go to the Fairy Playhouse. And when I arrived at this little Creole cottage on Esplanade Avenue, it's just this pink little building and it's covered in big, beautiful red hearts. And I'm like, where am I? And I was escorted through the side yard into the garden behind the house, where I saw just like a huge fete, just a group of people all gathering and eating and drinking and having a lovely time in this backyard space that New Orleans is known for some backyard spaces, but the garden at the Fairy Playhouse is absolutely one of a kind. And everybody was gathered around this person who lived there, and his name is Stuart P. Butler. And I was just enamored. And I remember sitting down and I asked him, are you the person that they refer to as the Emperor? And he said, I guess that's me. right? I would later find out that Stuart had a particular affinity for eating a brownie whenever we were having parties. And so there's a different person who actually is the emperor, but Stuart P. Butler is my emperor. And I remember falling into a moment being like, oh my gosh, Pearl has arrived in New Orleans. Like, this is the moment. And so I asked Stuart if he would be willing to meet with me. And for several visits after that, I would sit and with my little iPhone, I would record all the stories that he told me. And he took me through the walls of the Fairy Playhouse that are covered in all of these pieces of art, cards, different things throughout the years. And basically, I got the lowdown on like 30 years of gossip in the world of the Fairy Playhouse and Stuart's chosen family in New Orleans. And it was that summer in August that I went to Stuart's birthday celebration. And I remember seeing Stuart turning 85 and being surrounded. There must have been 50 or 60 people there. And I thought, this is the first time that I ever had any sort of legitimate proof that like we as queer people don't have to do this alone. That there was like this entire community of people who were showing up for this person. And I thought, this is what I want when I'm 85. I want a community of loving people who are gonna show up and eat cake with me. And I think as a queer person, we all have complex relationships with our family of origin. And so this was the first time I had ever seen this actually like working out. And so it was still another year later until I would get sober, and I stopped referring to myself as Pearl at that point. But when I decided to start taking the stage again, after a long respite, I thought of Stuart and the walls of the Fairy Playhouse and all of the irreplaceable pieces of ephemera that line the walls, and how perfect and precious relationships within the garden absolutely are. And so I go by precious ephemera now because I do believe in the power of community, and I do have a lot of faith in what we mean to each other. And it's a bittersweet joy to say that this year for Stuart's birthday, we'll be celebrating him in the form of a memorial service. But the things that Stuart Butler did and the way that he dedicated his life to the rights of the people in New Orleans, he's one of the founders of the Louisiana Gay Political Action Committee. I could speak endlessly at how like witty and funny and amazing he is, but I only have 10 minutes. But I just wanted to finish with this. I did make this a note that my favorite poet, Mary Oliver, surprise. She says, to live in this world, you must be able to do three things. The first is to love what is mortal. The second is to hold it against your bones, knowing that your very life depends on it. And the third is to, when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go. When you first move to New Orleans, people kind of ask you, what's your business here? And I didn't really have an answer besides I was just sort of a broken person looking for a sense of purpose. And when I met Stuart, I felt like that purpose was really clear. And so I would say I'll be here as long as Stuart's here. And so I'm eternally grateful for this cocoon, this day in my life where I was able to move inside this nurturing environment and heal and transform. And I'm proud to call myself Precious Ephemera today. And I hope that I'll never forget every single beautiful moment that I shared with this brilliant man. So that's my story.
Precious, thank you so much. Thank you so much for bringing him to Campfire and for sharing. I want to thank everyone that's here tonight. The fireside, people sitting by the fireside. Thank you so much, Fred and Masha and Ruby. I feel like I'm romper room, romper dumper, stumper doo. I need like a big heart-shaped mirror that has no mirror in it. So I'll work on that for next month. But thank you, Kitty Von Quim and Glenna. And thank you, Ruby Lamb. Masha, I got, yes. And thank you, Richard, my official gay husband, who normally wears the rainbow cape with me and will sign you up on the clipboard. So if you live in Austin, these will happen in person eventually. And thank you so much to Bobby for being here. And thank you, Charles, so much for joining us. I want to give a special thanks to Josh, my tech gay, and Demetrius, his adorable boyfriend. I love you both so much. And thank you so much, Krylon, for bringing your beauty and your strength and your magic to this world. Thank you so much, Ivory, for sharing what a yellow shirt and a good attitude can make happen. I'm so glad you won the trip. Thank you so much, Precious, for bringing everything that you do. And I really wish I would have met him, but I feel like I do when you speak about him. So please just keep telling me stories. And the Bishop, I love you so much. And I really appreciate you bringing your fiance's work here. Chris is such an incredible writer. You're such a great artist on your own account as well. So if all of the featured speakers could please just make sure in the chat you put like your website or how people can follow you, and we'll just give people a few moments to do that. You can also always email me, worldfamouscoaching@gmail.com, if you want to follow any one of these great artists. I will answer your email. I have a lot of free time. It turns out I have a lot of free time. We just have a couple minutes here. So it is 8:02. I want to be considerate of the time that we said we would take for this space. I have been given the thumbs up by the Vortex. Is there anyone in the fireside seats that would like to do 5 minutes or less of just sharing a memory of someone they love, reading a short poem, sending a prayer out into the world, anything you want to do? Any of our fireside? No pressure. Zero pressure. All right, so we got Kitty Von Quim. Josh, can you unmute her? Thank you.
I am doing that now.
My incredible drag daughter, Kitty Von Quim, and you definitely need to follow both of us on Instagram because we go out to winning, which means wearing matching outfits, and you cannot miss that.
It's
Thank
true.
you, Kitty.
So I'm going to tell a short story about the importance of seeing a smile in an audience and what that can do for you. So I've been performing for a number of years. I spent a long time in San Francisco, a little over a decade there. And I performed a lot at a club called The Stud. The Stud is a really fabulous place that unfortunately the building no longer exists. The spirit and the community do, but I had some really great moments there where, let's see, like one year for Pride, I was booked to do a midnight show at something, which was this drag show that happened every Friday night there for some time. And then it was Pride weekend, so they were here like, we're going to have you do the 6 a.m. show too. And I've said, sure, why not? And I'm not a drinker or I partake in other things, but they were super, super sweet to me. And they let me, I slept in a full wig and makeup in their back room on top of, like on a bar stool on some pizzas. And people were coming in and doing all sorts of things and saying hello. And I would wake up and say hi and go right back to sleep. And then at 6 a.m. I got up and performed, and it was a really lovely experience that I'll never do again. But it was a lot of fun in that moment. But recently, yesterday, I found out that I couldn't call him a dear friend, but I could definitely call him a spirit of gay nightlife in San Francisco. He passed away after a short hospital stay. And he was one of those people that his name is Mark. We would always see him in the club. He was always taking photos of us, and he was just a joyous person to be around. And this just tremendous spirit. Like, he would show up at Martuni's in San Francisco and sing along with the piano player. And he would come to the Stud and see the shows. And, you know, as a female-bodied performer performing alongside of a lot of drag performers, And I came in performing burlesque. So I didn't come in necessarily performing drag. I never knew what my, even though I know the people who ran the show knew about how I felt, I never necessarily understood how the audience would receive me. And he was just one of those people that just received me so well and just made me feel so very, very special. And that like I was somebody that he looked forward to seeing every time I got there. It was just an amazing like kitty and just this burst of joy. And his passing has been a little challenging for me because I know that it's a mark of when we come back together and gather in spaces, it's going to be a mark that things are going to be forever different. And I'm not necessarily going to see that person anymore, but there are so many people that we will be able to see and spark that joy within and be able to feed off of that. And I just wanted to love him as much as he loved me over so many years. So thank you for letting me share the story about Mark.
Thank you, Kitty. Thank you so much. Lola wants to say that she loves you. She loves you. Nothing cheers anybody up more than a poop. Oh, she's coughing up a hairball. Well, it's okay. Hi, Aunt Kitty. Thank you so much, Kitty, for sharing Mark with us. And I'm sorry to hear about his passing. It's, you know, I often like to think that it's such an honor to have so much to lose. It's just hard when you do lose it. You know, I try to think of the concept of someone who has nothing to lose and what a horrible and sad existence that could be, right? But it's still hard when you lose it. So I am so excited. We're gonna have Dusty Shoulders next month, and it's gonna be the same channel. We'll have a different YouTube link, so just keep your eyes open for that. Sunday, August 23rd, 7 to 8 Central. We have a couple of spots to fill. So if you're watching this, please, again, email me, worldfamouscoaching@gmail.com. We are looking for all gender expressions, any ages from 18 to 110. If you're 111, I will personally promise you a 7-course meal when COVID is over. I want to meet you in person. And I'd like to just give a quick thank you to Perfidia for always doing my hair. Perfidia's Wig World in New York City. I do have these shipped to me in Texas because even though I moved here from New York City 3 years ago, I could not even think of not having Perfidia frosting on top of this cake. You know what I'm saying? So I am brunette under this though, and I'm brunette because I am not getting my hair done, and I'm not getting my hair done because there's something called COVID-19. And I am not taking any risks that are disproportionate to my situation. So if it's not 1,000% essential, I'm not doing it. And I want to encourage each and every one of you to find a really cute mask.
Fabulous.
And to always wait. If I can wear it with a wig, you can wear it during the day. Okay, Queen? There we go. Just a little lash, a wig. You got your poodle noodle strudels. Don't touch the mask. Don't touch the mask. I want to encourage each and every one of you to remember me and Krylon's friend. Proper mask removal. Right there. You don't touch it. To remember me and Krylon's friend Nisham. Drag name Mona Foot, who did die of COVID and was in incredible shape, and a young man. I don't know. I'm 48, so I'm going to guess like 51. I don't know. I'm going to guess early 50s, but looked like 30 on a stick, honey. Yum. You know what I mean? And so thank you, Bobby, for your mask. If it can get him, it can get you. And I know it's hard. And there's a Buddhist idea. That the wise man does, or the wise person does what's good long term, and the fool does what's good in the moment, what feels good in the moment. So I want to encourage everyone out there to just keep up the good work, take care of yourself, reach out for help, and please, 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 you can't see the virus, so just pretend it's glitter. and it's on everything from the outside world, and you have to get all the glitter off before you bring it in your house. So that's a pretty good analogy. I want to thank all of you for being here, and thank you so much again, Josh, for Campfire. I'm World Famous Bob, and this is Lola Beans, live from the Pink Poodle Palace in Austin, Texas. We're so excited that you could join us this evening. Thank you, Vortex. We'll see y'all later.
Everybody, see you next month.
Be safe.
Bye, guys.